Hello, my name is Eleanor Nishivater. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my March wrap-up, which is also going to be my wrap-up for the Femathon, which I had great fun participating in this year. I read quite a lot of books this month, so I'm just going to crack straight into it. I will leave all the links for all the hosts for Femathon down in the description. We hosted quite a few live streams and things, and if those videos are still live, I'll leave them linked in the description as well. And I'll also say here that if I did any individual reviews or anything, I'll leave them linked in the description as well, along with my reading vlog for March too. So that's all of that out of the way. So the first book I read for the Femathon and in March was Wilder Girls by Rory Power. This is a fantastic book. I read it as an ebook and I loved it. It's an all-girls boarding school set on a small island, and something happens and a tox is released, and there's a small pandemic on the island, and all the girls they start dying, they start changing and transforming, and something's happening to them. And there's something on this island, and they're trying to work out what is going on, and it's full of really intricate female friendships and female relationships as well, whilst they're navigating this changed environment. And it's a really intriguing story, and you're really invested in these characters and their journey and trying to find out what's going on. So I enjoyed that very much, and was really glad that it was my first read of the Femathon. I also then went down a rabbit hole of reading novellas, so I reread Every Heart a Doorway by Sean Maguire. I've read that quite a lot of times. It's from the first book in the Wayward Children series, and then I also read Come Tumbling Down, which I hadn't read yet as part of the Wayward Children series. Come Tumbling Down again follows characters Jack and Jill. They're back in their world on the moors, and more characters are now interwoven into this. So there's more characters from previous books that are kind of woven in, and it was a really good story. I really enjoyed being back in the moors. I found them such interesting characters. The books are always just too short in my opinion. Novellas just don't do them justice. I feel like they need to be longer. I would happily spend way more time with all these characters, and there's just such a diverse thing going on. So it talked a lot about Jack's OCD and her mental health problems, and it talked about some of the other characters' deeper issues as well. So much is discussed in this fantastical environment, and I think they're really well done. I then went on to read the first 4 novellas in the Murderbot Diaries series: All Systems Red, Artificial Condition, Rogue Protocol, and Exit Strategy. These novellas are all very short, and I love them very much. You're following Murderbot, who is self-named, and they are a artificial kind of robot with human emotions and partly augmented like skin, and they wear a big suit of armour, and in each book they're following a different journey. So as you can imagine, this is a murderbot that's gone kind of rogue, and they have thoughts and feelings that maybe wouldn't otherwise be known because they've kind of hacked their own system kind of thing. And all they really want to do is just watch like space operas, which, you know, that's all they want to do. They don't want to be doing any of the things that they're doing, saving all these humans, doing all this stuff. They just want to sit and watch TV. And I just think it's really refreshing to see this from this point of view. They are just such an interesting character, and they're really humorous, and they go on lots of shenanigans and adventures, and it's just a good laugh. I then went on to read Into the Drowning Deep by Myra Grant, who is also the same person as Sean Maguire. They just write in a completely different genre, and this is a horror mermaid story, and it is so intense. A few years ago, a ship with a film company went out to sea and to the Mariana Trench, and they were trying to do a documentary / film, trying to prove or disprove like the idea of mermaids. And something happens to the ship. It's left drifting in the ocean, and everyone is gone off the ship. And all they have is some footage that shows that mermaids came aboard and killed everyone on the ship. And some people believe that this was real, some people believe it wasn't real. And one of the people who dies on the ship, their sister, is a kind of marine biologist kind of area. I can't go into detail about all the different areas because there's so much science in this and I don't understand or pretend to even understand most of it. I did do a detailed review of this. I'll leave that linked below, which I said at the start of the video. They get tied up in really wanting to discover what truly happened to their sister, and there's so many characters. And a few years after this tragedy, this entertainment company wants to go out again because they know that what happened was real, and they want to be the first kind of people to have the scientific breakthrough, the actual footage of this discovery, basically. And that's what they set out to do. So this entertainment company Imagine, selects all the best and brightest of the science people that they can. They put them on this big ship that they've made, a big cruise ship that's got all the science equipment on it, all these different laboratories and water tanks with stuff that they can collect all these samples. And then they head out to open waters, to the Challenger Deep, to the Mariana Trench, and they go mermaid hunting. And the first part of this book, the first third, is quite slow because you're meeting all these characters. There's lots of points of view, there's lots of different scientists. They've all got their own agenda, they've got their own reason for being there. And yeah, and then stuff goes down and it gets very intense. And yeah, if you're scared of deep open water, if you're claustrophobic, if you're scared of the sea and things like that, maybe this wouldn't be a book for you, because it is horror, it is very violent and gory, but I absolutely loved it, even though those things do kind of make me really anxious. Definitely would recommend. I then read On a Sunbeam by Tilly Walden. This is a beautiful science fiction graphic novel, and it's a very quiet book. It's not like any other sci-fi story ever. It's very quiet. I think every character on here is either female or non-binary, and it's a very slow-moving adventure about love and friendship and building a family, and it's beautiful. It's set in two timelines, present day and 5 years in the past, and these are colour-coded, either red or blue, so you know without them saying which time period you're in. And the artwork is just stunning. The artwork is just absolutely stunning. It's a very big, beautiful graphic novel, and it's just a very moving, heart-wrenching story, and I loved it to pieces. You can read this for free online. I'll leave the artist and writer's website linked in the description. She did release this as part of a web series, and you can read it for free online if you don't want to fork out the money for this beautiful hardback. I know these graphic novels can be very expensive, that's why I very sparingly buy them, but it's absolutely beautiful. I then read Run Rebel by Manjeet Mann, which is a contemporary story written in verse. This was a book that I was very hesitant to pick up because I don't read contemporary ever, and I certainly have never read a book in verse before, but this was the buddy read for the Femathon, so I did join in, and I was very surprised by how much I enjoyed this. Amber's story is very moving and heart-wrenching. She has an abusive upbringing. She deals with being a bully, and she just wants to run and go to the athletics championship, and she has a very conservative family, and she just has so many barriers and doesn't think she has a choice. And with the way her family is, she doesn't have a choice unless her family and her break free from like the clutches of her father and kind of tell someone what's going on and seek help. And it was just a very moving story the whole time. You were just so emotionally invested because it was written in verse. Everything was really pared back, and it just got straight to the emotion, straight to the point, and it really cut deep. And this is a story that's probably very prevalent up and down the United Kingdom, and it was just very eye-opening to me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it and would highly recommend it to anyone who is looking to pick something like this up. Yeah, it's just about fighting for freedom, fighting for your dreams, and Amber wants to help save her mother, and I just think that was beautiful. And the last book I read in March for the Femathon was No One Is Too Small to Make a Difference by Greta Thunberg. This was my non-fiction read, and I listened to it on audiobook. The original book I had for my TBR was physical, and I just prefer non-fiction to be done in audiobook form. It's just the only way I can consume it. I did quite enjoy this. Her speeches are very good. She's a very good speaker, and my only problem with this was that she kind of takes stuff from her previous speeches into her new speeches, so there was a lot of repetition. That was like my only real gripe. It would be nicer just to actually go online and listen to her speeches live. I think it would have had more impact than this short book being so repetitive. But her points are well made, and she's done so much as an activist for such a young person. She's done absolutely fantastically. So yeah, I would still maybe recommend you check it out. It was a really, really short book, so it didn't take much time at all to read it. Anyway, I managed to read 11 books in March, which is almost unheard of for me. Never mind the fact that half of them were novellas. Here is my bullet journal for the month. Yeah, I managed to squeeze them all in just about at the bottom, and I got so much read. I had such a fun time helping to co-host this Femathon in March, and I really hope we can do it again next year in 2022. And yeah, let me know if any of these books pique your interest and you're interested in reading them. I'd love to have a chat with you in the comments. Subscribe if you aren't already. I post videos every week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.